All right, welcome back to another edition of Barbecue My Way. We're gonna make some stuffed pork chops today, and these pork chops are gonna have stuffed in them spinach, mushroom, garlic, sun-dried tomatoes, cream cheese. We're gonna use some spices like thyme, rosemary, a little salt, pepper. It's gonna be awesome. It's pretty easy, so stay with us here at Barbecue My Way. Let's get working on the stuffing. All right, let's get started. First thing, we've got a skillet or a pan nice and hot. We're gonna add some olive oil, roughly a tablespoon. And we're gonna start it off with roughly another tablespoon of minced garlic. All right, we're gonna saute up that garlic a little bit. We don't want to go overboard with it because it's gonna be in here for the rest of the cooking process. So now we've got roughly, I'd say a cup and a half, maybe 2 cups of chopped mushrooms. These are going to release a lot of fluids as they cook. Whoop, and they're going to jump out of the pan. All right, it's been about 2 or 3 minutes. We're now going to add roughly a 1/4 cup of chopped up sun-dried tomatoes. Mix that around a little bit. Smells awesome. Okay, we've got about 1/4 teaspoon of thyme and a 1/4 teaspoon of rosemary. Crush it up, throw it in, mix those up. All right, we've got all that going. It's been maybe 5 minutes total now. We're going to add the spinach. And remember, spinach, it looks like a lot, but it cooks down considerably. And with the mystery of time travel and video editing, you'll see what I mean. All right, this has literally only been about 90 seconds. Look how much this has cooked down, the spinach, and we're not done yet. We're going to add just about maybe 1/8 of a cup of chicken broth. So we're about done here. I'm going to just sprinkle in a little salt, maybe a pinch. Never want to over salt, because you can always add salt, but you can't take salt away. And then a few grounds of pepper. Mix up. And now we are done, and we're going to take this off the heat, let it cool. We'll add the cream cheese, and I'll be right back. All right, here's our pork chop. It's a 2-inch, maybe 1 3/4 inch. It's bone in. There's the bone. That's the loin portion of the pork chop. I believe in getting the bone in. I think it adds a lot of flavor. A lot of flavor. Typically when you do a pork chop without the bone, I just think it dries out a little bit more. So you want to flip it on so that the bigger part of the meat side is up. Be careful. Have a sharp knife. You're just going to cut straight down into the pork chop to where it touches the bone. And this is going to be the pocket that we're going to stuff into. Just be very careful. It's a very bad cutting technique I use there, but I'm a skilled cutter, so I can get away with it. But that's our pocket. We're going to be putting the stuffing in, and then we're going to be closing it up with toothpicks. We're going to flash grill it on both sides to give it the nice grill marks and the texture. And we're going to slow cook it over indirect heat with hickory. Delicious. So, be right back. I'm going to add roughly 1/4 cup of cream cheese to this mixture. I think my camera girl's getting quite close enough for food. All right, we're going to add that. We're going to mix this up. Last thing we're going to add to our stuffing is going to be some breadcrumbs. These are not seasoned. We're going to add roughly 1/2 cup. And that is the finished product that we'll be stuffing in these beautiful pork chops. All right, we've already stuffed one. Now I'm going to show you how to stuff one here. Again, here's our opening. Got the stuffing right here. Just begin layering it in. Stuffing it, as they say, which is why it's called a stuffed pork chop. So we layer it in. If you get too much in, you won't be able to close it nicely, so you might have to take some out. And by all means, once you start stuffing and transferring stuff back and forth between the stuffing and the pork, you don't want to nibble on it. All Alright, so we've got it stuffed, and then we're going to close it up with some toothpicks. It's just straight through. Again, we're going to slow roast these, or slow cook them over indirect heat, and then we're going to finish it off over high heat to give it that nice texture and the grill marks. There's an ongoing debate about whether or not you should sear something first. The theory is that it holds in moisture, but it really doesn't. It's been proven that it doesn't. So I personally don't think it matters if you sear and then slow cook, or slow smoke, or slow cook over indirect heat and then sear. Personally, I like to slow cook it and then finish it off over high heat. We took these chops, they're at room temperature now. They've been stuffed with that beautiful cream cheese, tomato, spinach, garlic, all kinds of great stuff filling. We put a little rub on them. We've used Fuzzy's pork, or I'm sorry, Fuzzy's chicken, or poultry and seafood. Now the way I have the grill set up is we're using indirect heat. I do a little bit differently. You can get these steel gates, but I use hickory logs, and that's going to provide some additional hickory flavor. Once you put the lid on, the flame stops. We're going to indirect cook these for maybe no more than 20 or 30 minutes, and then we're going to finish them off directly over the heat. And I think these are going to be pretty tasty. So we put these on, put the lid on, we'll let it do its work. We'll be right back in just a little bit. All right, been about 25-30 minutes in direct heat. We've picked up a lot of that hickory flavoring. Now what we're going to do is start grilling them directly over the coals. And they'll start flaming up here in a little bit, and that's going to give us that texture. They're going to be delicious. Be right back. All right, put them over direct flame. Of course, they'd be flaming up a little bit, which is fine. Give us the texture. So we're keeping them over the direct flame. And then what we're going to do to shut down the flame is to put the lid back on. Remember, these have been cooking for roughly 30 minutes over indirect heat, probably around 275 to 300 degrees, kind of like in your oven inside. Pork needs to be roughly 165 when you take it off the grill. Remember, it'll keep cooking a little bit when you take it off the grill, 170, 175 when you're done. So we're going to put the lid on these, and we're almost done. All right, we've cut into it. Here's the final product. Pork's nicely done. Looks perfect. I'd spend a lot more time with you here, but we're going to go eat, so we'll see you another issue of BarbecueMyWay.com. See you later. Get out the grill, get out the barbecue.